It is I, the hidden hand, responsible for everything going on in Fromland. If you are here, that means you have looped back. Welcome to the From Season 1 rewatch. We almost there, doing 7 and 8 today, and I will do 9 and 10 thereafter. But anyway, guys, we're back here again to discuss, I would probably say, the two best episodes of the season. Episode 7, action packed. Episode 8, very emotional. Hard for me to choose, but I would say between these two, my favorite episodes of the season 1. So, what are we talking about today? Let's see. Watching me. Smiley is watching me. Smiley is watching. We're going to talk about Smiley, man. Smiley is in the house. I got a little theory concerning him for season 3 when we get to it. Jasmine is in the house. Ron Jeremy Jr., we putting you in the box. You get the box award right off the top. No competition. I would say Fatima is a second runner-up. I want to talk about her in this episode. All right. And of course, going into episode 8, we get the origins of Boyd and the Steven family and how that ended. Tragic, right? So all that and more in today's episode. So let's get into things, shall we? Give me a drop.
All I know is that it's real, and I'm fucking terrified.
Oh, you're terrified yet? All right. So yeah, just finished this is my second viewing of episode 7 and 8. And amazing the second time. Both great episodes. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of the points of interest of each episode. I've already gave out the who should go in the box award for episode 7. With episode 8, I'll give my award when I get to that part of the review, right? I didn't do MVP last episode. Let's give it MVP episode 7. I'll give it to Victor, man. I'll give it to Victor. Hold on. The peaches are gone. He knew what time it was when, hey, the peaches are gone. I'm up out of here. He had a plan, ready to go. He knew it was going down. He already made the graves, everything like that. So let's applaud this man. So I'll get to Victor a little bit later in episode 7. So we start off this episode with Fatima celebrating the day she got here. Weird thing to celebrate, but okay. And you know what? She would be a second runner up for the box this episode. Do you see this? Young and impressionable, and you got her confused. What's going on? I thought you had a man. You're kissing this girl. We sharing people. What's going on? You're a little too free spirited for me, Fatima. A little too free spirited. But hey, it's the colony house. But yeah, young and impressionable. How dare you, Fatima, confusing this young girl? And it's very awkward scene when she asked to kiss her. But one thing I wanted to point out was of course, the dream catcher that Donna gave her here, and both how these episodes interconnect with Abby talking about the dream she had. It's a dream. Let me wake you up. All that. Is this a dream? Man, I hope not. I hope this is not a dream. But there are a lot of symbolism as far as dreams, nightmares, things of that nature that this may be. So Abby may be right in the end. Maybe we ain't got to that part of the episode yet. Okay. But anyways, then after this, we get the talk with Father Kotri and Boyd, of course, with the bloody shirt right here. And I'm wondering, like last episode, I couldn't remember what happened with the bloody shirt, but we get the explanation. And of course, I guess Father Kotri experienced some child abuse going on. He went off, and then he says he had let's see here. I heard the voice of God when he was getting ready to uh, sacrifice himself. I believe that's what he was saying, if I'm not mistaken. And then the voice of God, or was it the voice of God? Was it something else that led him to eventually go down the road and see the tree? Everybody sees the tree, right? All right, let's talk about Ron Jeremy Jr. here. And of course, Jasmine here. And it wasn't my choice to be this way. Do you think she was telling the truth? Is there some truth to this, or was she just saying this to get in the window or the room? I want to believe something happened to her and the rest of these people that are monsters. It has to be some reason they got this way. So I think there is something to this. I believe that episode, what was it, 9 and 10 are going to answer these things, hopefully, about how the monsters were made, I guess you could say. So I do think there is some truth to this as far as her being that way or not. And we possibly got an answer in season 2 with the 3 being chained up. What would have happened if the music box wasn't stopped in time? That may be the conversion process. So we shall see. But I do believe there is some truth to this. But she was still trying to get in the room, of course. And we know what happened. Let's go. Let's skip ahead here. I know we got Dale talking about it's a pocket universe here. Once again, throwing out if you throw out the question or make it a statement in the show, does it immediately nullify the theory, or is it just another distraction? But yeah, there's Dale. This is a pocket universe. But this is a pause moment right here. My handsome boy. Why? That's something you would probably say to your son. So they're supposed to be having relations. I just don't. My handsome boy. Would you say that if you're a girl? Would you say that to your boyfriend? My handsome boy. What? So I thought there was a weird dialogue. So huge pause moment. Got a couple pause moments in these episodes here, but yeah. So we know what happens after that. Get a little tongue, a whole lot of tongue actually. And yeah, Jasmine is in the house. She lets up the window, and we know what happens after that, of course. We got a little foreshadowing right here. And some of you miss Trudy. Some of you wish Trudy didn't die. After watching this episode, I'm like, you know what? Trudy would have been cool to keep around. But yeah, a bit of foreshadowing right here as I'm rewatching this. Fatima said you'll get a chance to have your own party one day. And she says, I don't think I will. They put it right in front of your face. She's about to die. But at that point, you probably wouldn't know. Then once again, talked about this last episode about Boyd asking, do you think this thing is trying to help us? The voices, the boy in white. Once again, we see the boy in white pop up after the monsters arrive and Victor goes down the rope, the window. I still think he's evil. I think the boy in white is just, it's a long con, like fake Locke, right? It's a long con. But anyway, so yeah, is the place trying to help us? Is it trying to hurt us? Are these voices? I think the voices are helpful. There's got to be two sides to this coin here. So I think the voices are healthy. And we get this scene right here. She's looking in the mirror. So once again, I think there is something to the we were made this way. And she's looking in the mirror just with her expressions like, I don't like the person I am, but I am this person. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe there is something to that whole we didn't want to be this way type deal, but ain't nothing she could do about it, right? Poor Trudy. Now, I said I was going to talk about Smiley here. So let's skip to from season 3. In the group yesterday, Vinny, if you're in here, you put that the boy in white, not the boy in white, oh my God, Smiley could be coming back. I can't really remember the exact post, but he's going to be resurrected somehow. And you pointed to an interview with Harold saying something, inferring that he could come back. And I'm going to throw out the wild theory that the baby is possibly a vessel for Smiley to come back. Wild, but anything's on the table. Either that, or we could see him come back. As far as, like I said, we'll see how the monsters came to be in the Revelations episode, I would assume. Yeah, just a little bit on how I think Smiley can come back. So, boy in white time, of course, like I mentioned before, Victor, Julie go down the rope and they're led to the tree. Once again, boy in white seems helpful. Didn't go into a well that led to Martin, that led to worms, but instead she wound it up in the root cellar, which weirdly enough was where Victor came out of after the massacre. Does it transport you to random places, or does that specific tree take you to the root cellar? Who knows? After this, we got Father Khatri getting sliced and diced. I believe this is how Kenny's mom will meet her fate. I don't think she's going to be in a barn screaming. I don't think it makes sense for a boy to say, "You're so strong," and she's being tortured. I would see him saying that to Fatima. I think the barn scene has to do with the birth of the demon baby. I just think it's going to be quick and swift for Miss Lou. Let's not put her through all that pain and grief. Why we want to torture an old woman? So I can see her getting sliced and diced like this. And of course, saying a little prayer before he passes away, and kind of a small lost from connection. I see Boyd and Khatri like Jack and Locke, the whole science versus faith type deal. And you can tell that Boyd kind of struggles with this, I believe, in the next scene. But I think we're getting into episode 8, maybe. I'm not sure which scene this is from. Everything's gonna be okay. God's got a plan. Tell him all that. Yeah, when he's telling Kenny, "Hey, I gotta go. I need you to take over my place." And Kenny steps up in this episode as well. So getting a little character development with him. So yeah, it's just one thing I know is he has a hard time as far as accepting faith, and him asking in the early episode, asking for a sign, things of that nature. He's not necessarily a God type person, right? Y'all, hold on. Let me find it.
You know what, motherfucker? I ain't here to pray.
He's not here to pray. Okay. So I believe that wraps up episode 7. Great episode, action packed, a lot of bodies dropped. What more could you ask for? So if you're not awake by now, just stop watching. But episode 8, of course, from an action standpoint, turns down, of course, but from an emotional standpoint, just is up here. And just the first time watching, I'm just like, wow, the ending anyway. But yeah, we got Boyd going down to the basement with his resting bitch face to get Sarah, of course, and let's go for a walk. Right? And those boots were made for walking and slicing and dicing. All right. So then we go into flashback time. I wish we would get more of these in season 3 and the whole backstory. And even though we don't necessarily get a backstory, I think the writers do a good job of giving each character dialogue to show where they came from. Donna explaining her, sister being ripped apart or whatnot. Then we got, I think, the story with how Thomas fell off the table. I think I have that in here somewhere with Tabitha and Julie talking. So I think the series does a good job of that, even though we don't necessarily have that visual of what happened in their past lives. And what I was thinking about is all these people seem to have trauma of some sort, even though I don't I hate to bring up the Lost comparison. You remember when the candidates, right? They were talking to Jacob, and I believe Kate said something to the extent of, "Why did you bring us here? Our lives were just fine before you brought us here or chose us or whatever." And Jacob was like, "Was it?" So it's like that. They're like, "Was your life fine before you came to from?" Right? So it's like all these people have these experiences that bring them together, I guess you could say. I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, of course, after this, we get the tree. Everybody sees the tree. And I noticed the trailer in the back here. Was it the rendezvous or something like that? And there's a calendar in the that small little calendar that's marked out in Colony House. I'm pretty sure some of you have seen the picture already. It's the same company. So I wonder where that came from. Just a little point of interest. And I still wonder what those dates mean. Whether it has X's, some of them are scratched out. I've been trying to wrap my head around it. I can't really figure it out. Just something I thought I'd point out. And of course, we get some dialogue between Boyd and Sarah here. All night long, they streaked, drove people crazy. When they got the talisman, they stopped streaking. So that's interesting. Once again, I just think you just keep moving, right? It's levels to this. Every time you do this, something else unlocks, things of that nature. Speaking of that, getting before they got to the talisman, I believe he saw the dog, right? That dog seems to be a harbinger of some sorts. You see the dog, something else is about to go down. You've reached another level. That's what the dog represents to me. We saw him in the forest. We found the talisman. You can say the dog brought him to the talisman. But at the same time, it led him to stay out in the forest at night. So you can see it how you want to see it, I guess. So is the dog help? I don't know. I feel like it's something evil about that dog. That hellhound, right? After this, we get Julie. She goes back to the house. Another pause moment. I was up in Victor's room and we never mind. The optics sound real bad. It's a big pause moment right here. We didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. Jade is, of course, looking for Victor. He tells him here that the radio worked, of course, and then we get the whole let's build a radio tower at Colony House, and we know how that's going to end up, right? But we're not at that part yet. That's another episode. So, yeah, not much to Jade in this episode. He does find the picture of Chris, of course, and I think Chris is somewhat similar, like this whole kind of loop theory thing. Uh, Same thing, different people. Of course, Chris was responsible. We don't know how yet for the massacre of the people back then. I doubt Chris was going around ripping people's bodies open. I don't know. I don't know. He had something to do with it, but I think he had some help for the monsters, obviously. But yeah, Chris did something. So hopefully we get the actual answer as to what that is. But yeah, Abby doing the same thing. Mass massacre. Let's try saying that 5 times, right? With gunning everybody down later in the episode. We're getting to it. We're almost there. But anyway, they come into town. We get Father Kotri. Okay, it's good you have a gun. Not so good, buddy. Oh, just you wait and see. And then they're down in this little room. Did they create these rooms or were they already there? I'm not sure. We know we see Boyd coming out the little compartment or whatever. Maybe they had time to dig the rooms. As a matter of fact, I think they did create them. Because first I want, were these here already or did they create them? I think in the scene where he was basically starting to become the leader, telling them how to plan, things of that nature. I think he mentioned this as far as creating more hiding spots and alternating things of that nature. So yeah, we got Boyd becoming the leader before our eyes, making decisions for the group. It's like From brings the people that are needed. So they lacked leadership at this point, clear leadership. And Boyd just came right in, no problems. Hey, do this, do this, do this, do this. So does From bring people for a purpose? Whatever From may be. I was just thinking about this dream I had going back earlier to episode 7, the dream catchers, a lot of talk and symbolism about dreams and nightmares. Is this all one big dream? Abby, for your sake, I hope you were right. It just didn't gun down people for nothing. But it would suck if it was all a dream. That was, then we get Boyd going to the forest, finding the goat and the chickens. Talked about the livestock last episode. How did they get there? It's magic. But anyway, after this, we get him going into the woods where he meets the dog, finds the talisman. Who created the talisman? Jim wrote the questions on the wall. More questions leading to more questions, leading to more questions. That's what we need a backstory on. Who created these talismans? Were there Native Americans that knew some type of spiritual ritual that would get them out of this place, right? Or would help them survive in this place? If there were, did they get out? Are they dead? I haven't seen any Native Americans yet. So, yeah. Then we get to the pretty much the pinnacle of the episode right here. Abby's waking people up and Boyd is taking her down. A very emotional moment in the episode. And at the beginning of this episode, we know Abby is dead, but we don't know how she dies. And I wouldn't have guessed that this was the reason why. So definitely a unpredictable moment. For me, anyway. Maybe some of you saw it coming. I don't know. You're better than me. Then we get Boyd and Ellis, of course, making up. And I don't know why Sarah's goofy ass came out the hut. Sit your ass down. He's already having a hard time telling people he's got to go into the forest for whatever reason. And then he has to hide you, and you just come out making it harder for him. Let's put you in the box, man.
Hey, she's not going in the goddamn box, okay?
Okay, Boy. Okay. Just a suggestion. But here we get the beginning of Sarah's redemption, which is not complete. I think when she is redeemed, that's when Sarah will die. Her redemption is not done yet. They go off into the forest. And then a little bit before this, we got Kenny taking over right now, becoming the sheriff in town at this point. But of course, we know what happens season 2. He's eventually will come back, but we're not at that point yet. So with that being said, that has been your episode 7 and 8 breakdown. Hope y'all enjoyed, but we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, of course. Thank you for watching once again. Gonna be seeing you for episode 9 and 10, and that will wrap up the From season 1 rewatch. If you haven't already, make sure to go check out my From season 3 coverage, From Lost, Theory Hunting, and all my other From content. But anyway, guys, I gotta get up out of here. See you later.